Hi, I'm Electric Stoat, a V-puppeteer and music producer. You can see that I'm both of these things just by looking at my Twitter. See? Right there? V-puppeteer and music producer. But what happens when those two little words become heavier than you ever imagined? What if the term music producer was weighing you down, causing you to cease functioning, and it made you question your whole life's trajectory over the last 15 years? What if your hobby became your burden? Because that's what happened to me. Now, disclaimer, I am not a psychologist. This is not advice. I am a qualified lawyer working in finance. This is just my experience and my realizations I wanted to share with you in case it might help someone going through the same thing. A bit of background. When I was a child, I was always told I was a gifted kid, and I had a talent for music when I began playing violin at the age of 6. My father and grandmother were so proud of me and would consistently say things like, "You're going to be a famous violinist one day. You will be concertmaster of the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. You will tour the world and be the next Vanessa Mae or Andre Rieu." Notice the phrasing there? You're going to. You will. Not you could be. There was a firm and definite tone to the way my family phrased things. This has always been a running trait with my family. Less encouragement, more a demand for how my life needed to look. When it was obvious that I wouldn't be the famous musician my family wanted, with the instrument that they forced me to continue, even when I really didn't want to play it anymore, I was made to join a local orchestra after school ended. So I spent another 10 years post-high school in a local orchestra that was run by my old violin teacher. Needless to say, when I finally decided to quit, my family were extremely upset with me. Well, why did we spend all that money on violin lessons if you're no longer going to play? Conveniently forgetting that it was their idea in the first place, and if they were so worried about return on investment, they should have put their money in JB Hi-Fi and Chemist Warehouse stocks, then we'd all be better off. Either way, I felt extremely guilty that I was no longer pursuing music as a career. Before I had completely quit the local orchestra, which was eating up all of my time, both in a literal and an emotional sense, I began writing my own music. That way, I wasn't giving up music entirely, and it may lessen the blow to my family that I was giving up the instrument that they had pumped their money into. My biggest inspirations were Mike Oldfield and deadmau5, and I wanted to try my hand at writing. I started working on fan songs, with my first original song being based on Terrorhawks, a Jerry Anderson property, sung from the point of view of Kate Kestrel to Hawkeye. As you can hear, it wasn't very good, but I thoroughly enjoyed the process. It gave me something to do outside of my university work, and I could write music on my iPad in between lectures if I just wanted a break from study. This would be a thing that I could stick to so that I wasn't giving up music entirely. I wanted to make sure that my family was still happy after all. The irony being, I didn't have much support for my music during this period. My family didn't like that I was trying to make pop or EDM music, as it wasn't classical music, which was the only true music that mattered in their eyes. My boyfriend at the time would listen to it and just say things like, "It's okay, I guess," and, "I mean, you'll never be as good as deadmau5, but I see where you were going with it." Yeah, that was an actual phrase that came out of his mouth. Still, I persevered, got better, and suddenly I was being introduced with, "This is Stoat. She makes music." I'm now known as the woman that makes music. That's fine, I guess. I've done this as a hobby for a couple of years. I've made about a dozen songs that are okay, but it makes sense that I'm known for this now, considering this is my hobby. This is what I wanted, right? This is my whole personality now. I'm known for this. This makes me who I am and defines me. A few years go by and I finish 7.5 years of higher education, a short stint as a personal injury lawyer, and then I start in finance and I move through the business. Okay, so welcome to the team, everyone. I want you all to go around the room and introduce yourselves, your work background, and what you do in your spare time. Hi, I'm Stoat. I've been at the business for 3 years, background in personal injury law, and I make music in my spare time. Oh, cool. You'll have have to play us some of your music one day. Oh, no, it's just a hobby. No, we insist. They proceeded to hassle me for several months until I relented. After that day, I just never mentioned music production as a hobby again. I swapped it out for DJing, which I was also dabbling in at the time. It's in the same ballpark, but it got less wows, which is what I wanted. I got called cool when I talked about DJing, but it was an easier label to handle as it was merely a generic descriptor. It wasn't a title that put the fear of God into me. But I wanted that title of music producer, didn't I? When did it start feeling like a burden that I had to carry and disclose? It felt like the fine print at the bottom of a contract that says, you must specify to any new people that you make music because this is who you are now. You signed this contract and you must abide by the terms and conditions of said contract. It wasn't all bad. I got a small but loyal following, and when I tried out some of the retro wave genres, I made friends and became known in the Australian vaporwave producing community. I even returned to my roots in vocaloid songs in 2024 and made some banger tracks that people really enjoyed listening to. I'd hit my early to mid 30s and I felt like I was actually liked for the first time in my life. I'd looked up to some of these producers and now they called me their equal. But then the negative ripples became tidal waves. I began questioning why I even bothered to start writing music. The hobby had become a burden, a title that I had to carry with me everywhere, something that I had to maintain or else I would lose the only part of my personality that I thought was worthy of praise, of friendship, of pride. Did I really truly enjoy this anymore? Then the voices started. Of course you enjoy it. You wouldn't have kept it up this long otherwise. Maybe you've just lost the spark because you're bored of this genre. Try a different one to get the dopamine buzz again. You can't give up. Think of all the time, effort, and money you've sunk into this hobby. Maybe this new genre wasn't a good idea. Let's go back to something comfortable and you'll feel better about it. Think of how many people you're letting down if you give it up. That's the negative self-talk that kept me stuck in a loop for almost 10 years. I wasn't enjoying what I did anymore, but if I quit, think of the people that I was letting down. I'd already let down my family and my school teachers by taking a boring finance office job. I couldn't let down this small group of people who admired me, the people I'd inspired, and the other producers that I had been lucky enough to call my friends. But my hobby was no longer bringing me joy. It was a ball and chain I carried with me everywhere, an obligation. I couldn't enjoy other hobbies anymore because the negative self-talk would always surface. Why are you reading a book? Why are you playing a video game? You should be working on your next song. My willingness to learn new techniques and better my production had also waned. I didn't want to learn to get better. That motivation no longer existed for me. I wanted to do all the other things I always put on the back burner because music had to take priority. I want to learn to draw. I want to build and paint Warhammer. I want to write that novel that's been sitting in my journal for 20 years. I want to assemble Gundam and book nooks. I want to learn everything I possibly can about Sonic the goddamn Hedgehog. Once I was able to tell myself that it was okay and that there was nothing wrong with wanting to do other things, I began the long process of healing and acceptance. I wasn't letting others down by letting go of a hobby that no longer served me. I was letting myself down by thinking that I had to do this to maintain some invisible pedestal that I had created for myself. If I lose the title of music producer, that doesn't change who I am. I am still electric stoked. Music production will always be there for me if the mood strikes, but it's no longer the burden that it once was. I might come back to it in a year or two, I may never touch it again. It will always be there and a part of me, but it no longer has to consume me. I still have an original song and a cover that I want to do, but they're no longer all consuming and I will get around to them when I want to get around to them. If anyone asks me how my music is going, I just say, yeah, it's going good, and leave it at that. There's no need to elaborate further or say things like, oh, I don't do that anymore. Leaving it ambiguous gives me mental room to move. I've taken up drawing again for the first time in 15 years. Yeah, I'm crap at it, but that's okay. I don't have to be good at it or make it my entire personality. I've learnt more about Sonic the Hedgehog in the last 3 months than I knew about the franchise in its entire life history. Heck, I've been watching Sonic Boom on repeat while I draw my terrible anime drawings like some sort of obsessed gremlin who has finally been unleashed onto the world thanks to this godforsaken franchise. I've finally had a chance to slow down. I'm prioritizing my own well-being and mental health, and I'm finally seeing the joy in what I do again. And I think That is the greatest symphony of life.